Her 7-year-old grandson thought she was embarrassing and kicked her off the bus, but when he got off later she was nowhere to be seen. It turned out she had walked over 100 kilometers home just to save 2 yuan on bus fare. The 76-year-old grandmother lived alone in a remote mountain village. A few days earlier her daughter's business failed and she sent the boy to her. It was the first time she had ever met her grandson. She reached out to touch him but he pulled away in disgust. Tony looked around the place with a frown. Spider webs hung by the windows. Ants crawled all over the floor. He didn't want to stay here for a second, but his mom had to rush back to the city to find work, so she left Tony with his grandmother for the time being. The grandmother had lost her voice and couldn't speak. She gestured hoping her daughter could stay a few more days, but her daughter just left a few boxes of gifts and hurried off. After seeing her daughter off, the grandmother tried to take her grandson's hand to lead him home, but he pulled away again. She awkwardly drew a circle on her chest to apologize. She knew he didn't like her, so she quietly walked ahead to show the way. Tony trailed behind, laughing to himself. She didn't get angry. Every so often she would turn back and wave for him to follow. Tony dragged his feet but kept up. By the time they got home it was already evening. Tony pulled canned drinks and snacks from his bag. His grandmother had cooked him a full meal, but he only ate the canned meat and rice he brought. She put a piece of pickled vegetable in his bowl. He pushed it back along with the rice. After dinner Tony turned on the TV but couldn't find the cartoons he wanted. By accident he broke the TV. Knowing her grandson liked snacks, she brought out candy she had been saving, but Tony ignored it and kept eating his own chocolate before walking away, leaving her sitting there in a daze. He didn't want to be around her. He played his handheld game to pass the time. She just sat quietly watching him. That night Tony had a stomachache and needed the bathroom. Afraid of the dark he wouldn't go alone, so she stood outside to keep him company. Life in the countryside was dull. Tony played with the toys he brought from the city until he fell asleep. She clumsily tried to stack the blocks on the floor, wanting to join in his world, but she could never quite figure it out. One night she asked him to help thread a needle. He didn't even look up and kept playing his game. When she handed it to him again he sat up in annoyance. To stop her from bothering him he pulled the thread out extra long on purpose. Then his game ran out of battery. He shouted for her to give him money for new batteries. She patted her pocket but had no money at all. He followed her to the river begging for the money, promising his mom would pay her back later, but she just kept drawing a circle on her chest to apologize. Frustrated he pushed her aside and ran home. He tore the place apart looking for money, but found nothing. Out of spite he urinated on her shoes, then hid the only pair she had. With no shoes she had to walk barefoot over the rocky mountain path to fetch water to cook for him.